There it is. I was wondering where my audio was. Starting to freak out there for a second. Can you hear me? 1, 2. I see you. Woo Riders. Chiro Sounds Gustavo. Gustavo don't sleep. Yeah, it's going down tonight, y'all. Friday night, Los Angeles. Yeah, protests going down. Not sure you've been hearing about it, but yeah, things are riled up out there in the streets. Stringers and streamers are out doing their thing. We're going to hang out and do ours. See how this ship floats tonight. I said ship, not the other word there. Probably thought I said ha. Yeah, we have sound, says Chiro Sounds. Thank you for that sound check confirmation there. Yes, Smoking Scan's got the view right now. KTLA, Channel 5 News. I tried. He's got the chopper view right now, which is awesome. And yeah, it's going down downtown LA. Started earlier this morning. ICE was doing raids in different areas of the city. And at 4 o'clock, I guess they set up a meeting over at City Hall. And since then, I think it was the federal, what do you call it? Detention building or whatever, right by the 101 freeway. Things started going down there. And right now, we'll take a look, see what's happening now. Things are starting to disperse. But people are out still, you know, doing their normal thing around downtown. But you got these other people causing trouble. But it hasn't been too bad. A man did get you could say run over. Not sure if anyone caught that live with Smoking Scan. And I don't know what his condition is, but I believe it was one of the authorities. They were leaving this certain area after a raid, and a man was in front of the vehicle, not smart, and was backpedaling. And at some point, he just couldn't backpedal anymore. And yeah, you could imagine what happened. Went flat on his back, wasn't moving much. I don't know what the update is. They didn't offer any medical assistance. So word is it's going to be big controversy there. Hear the ghetto bird going by now. We got Javier up in here. What's up, brother? Welcome on in, Monisha. Cheers to you. And we'll see how this is going to roll tonight. We've been trying to get into a particular topic, these weird drownings and stuff. I'm still with it. We might dive into that tonight. And no pun intended in that when we get into these serious topics. Let's have a look with the Smoking Scan right quick and see what's popping off in the city. Got to get a little view really quick and give you all an idea. You know, there's always something popping off. What was it? A couple weekends ago was that after party that got way out of control. And a heads up, because I hear this next week we got that strawberry full moon coming up, right? Is that correct? On Wednesday, I heard, and then you get Friday the 13th. I know Chiro Sounds follows Donut. I heard he changed his name to Potato now. I don't know. But yeah, I'm catching that vibe there. So a heads up, we'll see what happens. But a lot happening around the world as usual. Let's see here. Where are you at? And live on patrol. We could take a ride with the sheriff a little later. or I think it's the undersheriff right now. They passed the baton down. Sheriff Bob was cruising live earlier. Let's see here. Where are we at? Let's open that up. Maybe we get Stinks the cat in the view there. Oh yeah, there's his kitty. But yeah, there's KTLA Channel 5 Smoking Scan live and direct for you. Awesome view there from the chopper. And we got Roger stepping in. What up, Roger? Another man who doesn't sleep. Always appreciate your presence, Roger, and everyone else. And sending out some healing vibes to our friend Gerald. Yeah, I didn't know Gerald wasn't feeling good. I noticed he wasn't around, and we won't talk about it much. I'm sure he probably doesn't want people talking about it, but we're going to send him some healing vibes, some prayers. I'm going to uplift him. And I did see Chi mention earlier in another chat that he is doing a little better, so that's good to hear. Y'all could throw up some look at that, got another chopper there zooming in on him. Any fast movers going by there? And look, these guys are still out and about, and that's how they were in like military. Looks like all militaried out. I don't know what agency this is. This could be ICE there. Y'all could throw some ice cubes up in the chat and some Stink. Some, when I see Stinks, his cat, I like to throw up the YouTube cat, the orange cat emoji. What's up with the orange cats? Let's see if this track loops. I'll turn this down. Anyway, how's everyone feeling this weekend? Everyone feeling all right? We're getting that June gloom out here. Oh, cool. It did loop. Right on. Carl Casey tracks banging in the back. Truth Police, name of the track. And Speed Chase earlier tonight, too, or earlier this afternoon. What time was that? Around 4-ish? Probably around 4:20-ish. Wouldn't doubt it. And we were able to do that kind of low budget style. We had no internet at the shop, and hopefully we have internet tomorrow. The AT&T had sent a message saying that hopefully by 7 p.m. the service would be restored. And so it's kind of an inconvenience. Something about that area there. We've been told about quite a few different service providers that it's this like weird black hole there. For the most part, we don't get interruptions there, but every once in a while we do. We've switched providers and gone through all this stuff, but yeah, anyway, a little trouble today with that. So luckily it wasn't too inconvenient as far as business, so thank goodness for that. And so yeah, we didn't stream or anything from the laptop at the shop, but we did do this little live stream using I used my hotspot on my phone, kind of pulled it off that way. And it was a quick one. I don't know what the updates were, if the suspects were apprehended or what, but yeah, I could go on and on about stuff going on out here. We give you like a small percentage of what goes down out here. And I know it's overwhelming, and I think it's good. It's a good thing because it's a reminder for you folks that live in a nice place. And there's Dragonfly, who also lives in a nice place, and it gives you more appreciation about where you are, and hopefully you're not dealing with stuff like this. Some people like it. Some people like the city and the madness and the you know nonstop rat race. I could switch it up. I could do with it. You know, I'm good with it, but I'd rather not. Yeah, something tells me, I don't know how many of you actually live in like a bigger city or in a big city. And if your big cities anything like these cities here in the US, but yeah, you know, we hear a lot about Florida. Of course, Florida, you get the whole state, but yeah, places like Chicago, of course, New York. Let's see here. There's Jeff. What up, Jeff? He loves the city. Jeff, you're in a good area, but you get action, quite a bit of action out your way too, man. It's surprising, you know. And thank you, Jeff, once again. I don't know if you heard me the other night. I gave you a shout out. Thank you for coming through. It was good to see you, brother. I couldn't recognize you. I was like, dude, this guy looks like this guy came out of Northern California or something. With long hair. Jeff's hair is getting really long. I didn't recognize. I had to take a double take. And Jeff stopped by, showed a little love, spent a little time, and he spent a little money too. So big up to Jeff. Yeah. And all of you others that have shown love and support. Greatly appreciate it. And it sounds like Monday we got something lined up. I got a little chat with Paranormal Paul. So maybe I haven't gotten any links to share yet, but maybe he has something out. I gotta check his channel. But yeah, Monday, I think in the evening time. Forget the time. I gotta double check that too. I'll get that out, share that out with everyone. Maybe want to stop by, hang out, say what's up. I have no idea where we're gonna go with the conversation. Before I used to like try to line up pictures and videos and all this stuff, which I'm sure was overwhelming for the host. But they would pull it off a lot of the times. Now I don't do it as much. Now I'm just like, all right, let's just chat, and people want to see stuff. Maybe we could try and pull it up, maybe from the channel or whatever. But yeah, I don't do sending videos and unless they request it, which I love to show stuff, you know, like that, videos and pictures, anything. I like yeah, any receipts, I guess you could call them, right? People call no refunds. And yeah, look at that. You still got that June gloom going on. And you know, that I'll call it June funk because it's a mixture, you know. And I love how Smoking Scan just switches from video like that. Boom. He just like slides through there. Look at this guy. Anyway, yeah, not partaking in any of that. We have work tomorrow. And so, yeah, looking forward to chopping it up with Paul there. And who else? Jeff Yarrington reached out. And maybe in the near future here, we'll be be setting something up. Yeah. Little conversation with him also. I know I forget the channel. I usually catch him on a stream and there's a bunch of other guys. Forget what states they're from, but yeah, they be chopping it up about Bigfoot over there. And yeah, I'm always down to talk Bigfoot. Y'all know that. So anyone ever interested in talking Bigfoot with the eye here, reach on out. Let me know what's up. Make that happen. Um, hmm. What else is popping out there? Here, let's go ahead and let's pop out of here. Let's take a ride with the sheriff right quick. Maybe we'll check in back with Babylonia. here in a second. And speaking of yeah, Babylonia, there's gonna be some an effect that I'll be doing here every once in a while whenever it calls for. And unfortunately, it involves some hand gestures that I'm not too fond of, but it's cool. People use it, the hook them horns, I guess they call it too. Different ways of doing it, but it's to set off certain effects here now. Just like don't forget to see, we do it like this. No, we're doing it now. Here we go. Like that. Don't forget to do that. And so when we do that, just know that the effects are to chant down, burn down any meaning, any negative meanings to those hand symbols. And I think, yeah, hand symbols are important. Yeah, they talk, mudras. There's stuff we do. We could do a whole night on just hand symbolism. There's the peace sign. There's different positive hand symbols. There's, of course, sign language. Yeah, sign language, the language of the hands and stuff. It's pretty mind blowing, I think. Um, and yeah, even down to like even gangs use it and stuff like that. It's a trip. And but anyway, yeah, there's gonna be certain. We'll make it happen here in a bit. But yeah, anytime we pop that off, it's to burn down those negative meanings and vibes. So just a little heads up there. And boom, Discord there. Whoa, watch your step there, buddy. Back up.
Back up there.
Who else is coming in here? Saludos desde Norte Cali. Yeah. Big up NorCal. Much love. We're going to be heading up north here tonight. That's the intention. As soon as we get out of here, let's step on out. See, where are we? Boom. Make sure I stop that. And I'll be sure to navigate calmly here so I don't panic and hit some sort of button that'll make us crash. There's Garrel. Yeah, brother. The brother's up. So we're gonna set it off. I was talking about those gestures. Brother Garrel is here. Come on now. Can we set it off? Boom. There it is. Greetings, Lori. We got Lori Myers here. And let's take a quick little cruise with the undersheriff while we're at it. I think it's always fun to take a ride with law enforcement, especially when you're on the good side of things. Don't want to be in the back of the patrol car there. And this is Under Sheriff Martin. And let's see if I could remember the county. It is Aurora County. I think they're out of Minnesota. And it's Sheriff Bob. Yep. Bob Fletcher, I think it is. Let's see. And so it's live on Patrol Channel. And yep, Ramsey County. My bad. Would I say Aurora? And yeah, Ramsey County, Minnesota. Capital St. Paul. And they don't get action like we do out here, but it's always, fun to see what's going on in other towns, cities, see how they do it. And every once in a while, they'll do lives. I think on Friday they did like 3 lives. Sometimes they'll go live midday. Well, it'll be midday here, and it's interesting to hear the sheriff. When was it? Last night, I think they were cruising around too, and they pulled up a lot of students graduating and getting together and stuff like that around town. They pull up on these guys, but I don't think they were students. They seemed like older people. And right as he was pulling up, they were in the parking lot and it smelled like weed. They could smell the weed. And he pulls up. He's like, "Are you smoking pot?" A lot of them know the sheriff. He's like, "You smoking pot again?" And he's like, "Oh man, well, it was hilarious what he said." And the sheriff didn't do anything. He didn't bust him or anything like that. He just kind of cracked the joke with them. Wanted to share that. Maybe I will at some point. It was hilarious. But yeah, cool to see the sheriff seems pretty cool for the most part. Gets a lot of trolls in the chat, but that's how it goes when you're going live. Luckily here we don't get too much of that. And Garrel, again, hope you're feeling better. And yeah, so these drownings, I wanted to get into these drownings a little further. We've been trying. It's been like 2 or 3 streams that I'll get a little bit further into the topic, but I didn't quite get to share some of the articles I was finding, and I was focusing on the area. Look, they got one of those blue lights. That look blue to you? Is that like what do they call it? Lucifer project. Um yeah, there's a few articles that I found of interest from the Northern California area, and we'll try to do our best to pull those up and see just if this stuff is happening up that way also. I'd be interested. And there are some 411 missing 411 type cases with people being found in water in nearby where we're going to take a look at. And yeah, let's take a dive into that now. There's some new Bigfoot reports also added to the Bigfoot mapping project, and we'll hopefully do a little bit of reading of that as well. Also, speaking of Bigfoot, big up to the let's see, the Willow Creek China Flat Bigfoot Museum. There are now Eric, the curator there, sent me a message. He's like, "Hey, the museum is open for the season, so just Bigfoot Willow Creek China Flat Museum now open for the season, folks." Yeah, and I always recommend checking the schedule just in case, because Humboldt time. There's a thing as Humboldt time, and it's just a lot. Yeah, it's like 4:20 timing. If that kind of helps put things into perspective, so people take their time up there. So you never know. Check the schedule, and yeah, check it out. Maybe you got something that you want to donate to the museum, Bigfoot related. Yeah, and hopefully soon we'll be checking it out. We try to get up there yearly, and we're coming around that time. So I got my fingers crossed and doing all my secret little things I do to try to make these things happen. So ah, could get intense. Let's see. Do. So we'll recap every time we've been going live trying to cover this topic. We do a little recap for those that may not know, or may not have an idea, or maybe forgot. And let's see, we're talking about the mysterious drownings around the U.S. and also, there's Europe that's been popping up with this phenomenon, and the UK to be exact. But there's other places I've heard little cases. I think there's little cluster areas starting to pop up. I think Portugal was possibly one. Spain, there's some cases, and a lot of times they're males, usually well educated or athletic, and they'll be hitting the bars, and somehow they'll go missing and end up in a body of water, and it seems like they drowned. And I think even if they did drown, I think it's mysterious. Even if it's just ruled a drowning, a regular, if you want to say regular, because I don't even think drowning like that is regular, even though you're intoxicated. We talk about intoxication quite a bit, like alcohol, also called spirits and stuff like that. And I think it's for a reason. There is a connection with the spirit world and substances, psychedelics, you name it. I think even certain herbs, teas, um, foods, even that could alter your state of being and could open yourself to good or negative beings, entities, spirits, and other things, etc. And so, yeah, it makes me wonder because in a lot of these cases, so there was these investigators out of New York that were having these cases, these types of cases that we're talking about happen in their area, and they started discovering what they felt were these possible markings of these graffiti like smiley faces at the scenes. Ooh, someone's getting pulled over here. At these scenes, and they felt like maybe it was some sort of calling, a marker, of some sort. And viewer discretion be advised here. This is live. You never know with these. Yeah, how intense for law enforcement. I think this is like gut wrenching, having to pull over vehicles. You never know what's going to happen. Um, and so, yeah, what's going on with these situations? So they started discovering also that in some of the cases, or in a lot of the cases, they weren't finding water in the lungs. And sometimes they would find the bodies a long time after they were reported missing. They would find the body in water. And sometimes it seemed like they weren't in the water as long as they had been missing. Like they were just put in there a bit before they were found. So meaning like decomposition and stuff like that. Several things were there were anomalies in a lot of the cases, certain cases, and different things like that. We talk about the shoes missing too, and different little things that Dave Politis has pointed out. But anyway, were on these cases, and then I guess they started calling it the smiley face killers. So some of you may be familiar with that. I think they even got a series. I forget what um, streaming network. I think might have a series on it. And ooh, let that dude go. I don't know if he got a ticket or not. That's cool. Um, and yeah, let's go ahead and pull something up here. Let me make sure that is off. May Under Sheriff Martin there have a good night. May he be safe out in them streets. Let's see what we could pull up on. Yeah, I got something right here. So there's Fox 13. And actually, this is last year. So they have been touching on it again. This has been going on for quite a bit. I forget what years. It was maybe the early 2000s when this started happening, and it's still happening. There were some recent cases out of Tennessee, and we'll have a look at those really quick too in a bit. This one actually has a video to it. There's the article there. Look at that down here. It says 45 men have passed in the last 27 years. And maybe we could check out the video here. Let's see. Let's play this.
This is so weird. Since 1997,
no,
there
it's
are
Harvey.
45 people, mostly young men, who have turned up dead in 11 states and 25 cities.
All right. Yeah, the TMZ. Well, interesting that they're touching on it. We'll cut that there. Harvey. I'll save my comments on Harvey. But yeah, look, there's another article here we'll check out really quick. Let's see. Smiley face. And this is Oxygen, I believe, is the platform I was thinking of, where they have this series. There you can see smiley face killers. There's a map. We'll check out that map really quick. And this is 2019, January 2019. I haven't seen any of these episodes. Whoops. You can see a map there with some of the states where some of this stuff was happening. But like I said, it's they've noticed it happening in Europe. And I'm sure it's happening in other places. And a lot of times they focus on the bars and them being males. But we showed an example of here locally in LA, a famous case. Good evening, Nana. Nana, Amanda, what's up, Richard? Everyone else who may have slid in. Candy Wolf, greetings. So yeah, so Dave Politis kind of bounced off those investigators, investigator Kevin Gannon, and Duarte from New York. They wrote a book as well. I forget the name of the book. And Politis actually uses a quote from Gannon. What is it? Local reports for local consumption, meaning that a lot of times in these cases, they'll just put something out in the media to kind of just hush things up or close the case and not get into the weird aspects of it. Let's see. Sobering Coincidence. So Dave wrote a book on it. We've checked that out. That's the Sobering Coincidence. And so one thing that was talked about too with those detectives that was brought up is the whole GHB. We're talking about substances and stuff like that. And I can see how also people being when being altered or inebriated and stuff like that. I've seen people act weird sometimes and do weird things. And even myself, sometimes having some experiences with certain things, it's like, whoa. And I can see how people end up in strange places or doing strange things. Some of them are really bad, will get you into big trouble depending on what you're doing and how you're doing it and when and how and where. Uh so yeah, you got to be careful, I think. And these are my opinions. Again, people think differently. Probably don't believe in stuff like this. But yeah, I think there's definitely something to alcohol. So they find this GHB stuff at times because they say the coroners and medical examiners don't normally test for this stuff. And we kind of briefly got into the GHB, and I've heard that the GHB does produce in the human body in small amounts, which is also very similar to, they say the same thing about DMT, dimethyltryptamine, which is one of the strongest, if not the strongest, psychedelic uh, s- known at the moment. And let's see, where is that little GHB that we pulled up here? We won't read it all. We did kind of briefly read and see some of the effects and the side effects. Y'all could just look it up there if you're interested as well. And people also use it for bad reasons. It's known also as the, what do they call it? The date drug. And so yeah, in certain cases, I guess they requested to test for this stuff and they found it in, I guess, in large amounts. And we also brought up another similar substance, scopolamine, that's also used in Colombia, South America, for like basically turning people into a zombie, having them turning them into your puppet, and they'll rob people and use it for very negative things. Is that Juliana? What up, Juliana McGill? Welcome in. We're going to talk about some things up your way, and hopefully, I'll be up your way this year, soon. Putting it out there. And so let's see what else I had to share on this topic here. We touched on the GHB and that a lot of times they're males, but we showed here locally a famous case that I believe is along those lines and is actually a female. And that's the Elisa Lam case over at the Cecil Hotel. And if you're noticing a lot of these articles I'm pulling up are actually, this one's 2025 February, so this is being brought back up. And I talked about the other day a lot of cases and like cold cases I've heard are being solved here in Cali, Northern California. There's been a couple old ones that were solved recently. There's also some missing persons cases they're bringing up in different states. So like a lot of these old cold cases and it's like they're making a comeback. Even a known one in Redding, California, I just heard about recently was the Sherry Papini case, the lady who claimed that she was kidnapped and everything, which is past 11/11 right here, West Coast. Bless up, everyone. What up, Matt? Uh, so she's got to pay law enforcement back. I think they were saying like 300K for that whole ordeal. And when that happened, that was at a Redding, California. Not sure if anyone remembers that, but that made national news. There was another case nearby of another lady that had gone missing that completely got like shaded out by the Papini case, which turned out to be false. So yeah, we brought that up. What up, David? Welcome in, brother. Good to see you. And so yeah, this does happen. And I'm trying to think of another female case where this has happened. But this one definitely stands out. And we have checked out, we've gone to the Cecil. A lot of you are very familiar with the Cecil and its history. So, very dark place, weird, strange place, old world building, in my opinion. And yeah, I've been there several times checking out the outside. Actually crept back in towards the alley behind it also, which can get creepy back there. But yeah, I like taking a look, and it would be interesting to check it out from the inside. Hopefully one day we could. Let's see here. And actually, there's going to be a YouTube channel I'll be bringing up here in a bit who covered the smiley face situation and several other cases uh, similar along those lines. And then they did a whole thing on the Cecil, really good cover of the Cecil. And so, yeah, if anyone could think of any female cases that are along these lines, yeah, let us know. I maybe I'll remember another one, but there's got to be more. And there's also the talks about when these drownings happens that I guess you could call it a statistic that I guess what do they say? The males are usually found face down and females face up, which is pretty trippy, you know? And there is cases where they're not found like that, which makes it, I guess, mysterious. I remember one off the bat where one body was found in water, like standing up, like floating straight up, they said, which is pretty weird. And yeah, like I said, you'll find little weird anomalies with a lot of these cases. And again, it makes me wonder, is something like really mysterious going on, or is it something more just more I don't know if normal is the word, but not so strange, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Um and there was a case recently that came to my attention that was along these lines, and it's a trip because Brian Schaefer, well known, a lot of channels covered it, out of Ohio, was at the Ugly Tuna Saloon, and they had CCTV footage of him going in but not coming out, and it still got labeled a 411 case even though he wasn't ever found. And I talked about a recent channel, small channel, that covered it, and will show her. I believe it's a female that runs this channel here, and she covered this case recently, a couple months ago, and really brought up some good information. And it just, for me, it knocked it off the 411 list. I don't think it seems like it's more possible. Like I said, insane criminal. So when I say criminal, I think even the mysterious, strange stuff is criminal also at times when bad things happen, like they're not found alive and stuff like that, or they come back with strange memories or so when I say criminal, I meant to say also that it's more human related and not so strange. But yeah, let's see the Brian Schaefer case. Let's see, where's her channel? Mm. And it was cool because I was going through this topic and this channel actually popped up, and I don't think it was that was like the universal or multiversal algorithm, I believe, kind of working and putting some stuff out there for me. And you could see here, name of the channel there, Eyes on Crime. And yeah, she's at 3.21K, 7 videos. And it's the fourth video there. You can see Brian Schaefer, new info. And so I recommend it, especially if you remember this case, and brings up a lot of new information once again. And I think the bigger channels, hopefully they become aware of this, because there's even brother Steve Stockton, who I seen streaming earlier today. Salute. Seen he shared some pictures of his little one, super cute baby. Uh, may the Almighty bless him. And yeah, so I wonder if he'll be doing an update on some of these cases, because there's several other cases that were pretty big on the 411 list that have gotten updates, like the Yuba 5, which Missing Enigma channel on YouTube has covered and done a deep dive amazing job on bringing up new information on that. And the Yuba 5 case is it's a weird one, but now it makes me think that it's more on the criminal human side. And good evening, Sharon. Welcome on in. So just an update for you folks that are into this stuff. You might want to tap into some of these channels and check out these videos here. And appreciate the videos you shared, Juliana, as well. I checked one of them out. Um, Good stuff. I've been hearing quite a bit coming out of Northern California and Oregon as far as Bigfoot and some other topics there. But and I always appreciate the share. So keep them coming. So update on the Brian Schaefer case. And let's see here. What else did I have? Y'all hang out in the chat. Oh, what happened to the vibes here? There we go. Got a little quiet on us. All right. So UK, we're mentioning. There's the BBC with so out in the UK it seemed to have focused on near pubs and near these canals that they have out there. Hashtag old world. And mainly males, gay males. And yeah, it's okay to say gay, right? Gay could. Where is it? Yeah, so weird and strange, scary stuff too. And I know a lot of times, that community gets targeted for a lot of things. Had some stuff happen here locally actually. And yeah, so I don't know if it's continuing to happen out there across the pond. But right here it says September 4th. So this one's 2018, so several years back. And again, Politis has covered other cases throughout Europe. I think Australia might be on that list too of some of these types of cases. Let's see here. I want to make sure I get all of these before I get into the NorCal cases here. And these NorCal cases, I'm not saying that they're these sobering coincidence or 411 type cases. Just thought it was interesting that they were happening in an area where there was these water sources. The water sources come up quite a bit with the 411 topic and other paranormal strange topics. So we're keeping the water in mind. And yeah, let's step over here to Dave's channel really quick. So he dropped a new video today and I haven't fully checked it out, but these past two, and there was another one. Let's see if I could pull that up. Let's go to videos. There we go. So that bottom, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth one of those cases there, you see two young men and the little baby there, or the young child there. One of those young men is a case out of Tennessee, and we touched on another case out of Tennessee recently, where it was, I believe, a college student, young white man, smart, intelligent, going to school, and yeah, was out drinking. But his case, it was luckily he was found alive, and he was found like 40 miles away where he was drinking at, and ended up missing his wallet and some things, almost like he was, I guess, like robbed or something. But I guess, if you're intoxicated, you could lose things too. So there's that. But how did he end up where he did? And then, yeah, some of the details to it was pretty weird. So I don't know if Dave fully made it a 411 case, but uh, having that recent Tennessee case, it was just a red flag, and I think they went missing nearby the same areas, like Nashville. Both of them out of Nashville. So what's popping off in Nashville? And I know I've heard of Nashville being big, a lot of drinking, party town, music, of course. And so what's going on there? Uh, Recently, out of Humboldt County, California, there was talked about the recent rash of spiking of drinks at a particular bar, and so that had me thinking. I was like, well, that part of Humboldt, and we're talking Eureka, California here. This is the article, and it was 5 people, and we went in on it, and there was some details even in one of the victims explaining on what they had experienced, and it was all bad. It was all like not feeling good, blackouts, vomiting. And right here, this one person was became shoeless and was in between some cars and just in a weird place. And so yeah, when I saw that the shoes coming off, I was like, oh, here we go. Luckily, everyone was I guess okay after. But yeah, what was going on there? I don't know. One would think, I guess, bartender. Like, what's up with the bartender? Let's talk to him, right? Um, and yeah, a lot of there's a bay there in Eureka. Arcata has a bay. There's a marsh in Arcata. I think Eureka might have one too. There's the jetties. There's the beach there. A lot of different water sources in the area, and there had been even last year a case of a woman being found in the bay. And I know in the previous years there had been also other bodies pop up in the bay there. So I was like, oh, you know what? And I've mentioned several different establishments to go drink at. You got, what is it, the Lost Coast Brewery? That's all along there. Old Town Eureka, you have the sushi spot. What's the sushi spot, Juliana? Um, Very possible, Diesel. Welcome in, Diesel. Yeah, what's up, brother? Um, yeah, so what was it? Another establishment, the Eagle House. We talked about the Eagle House the other night, it being us having some weird, like paranormal stuff happening there. We knew the owner at the time, Mr. Lee. I believe he sold the place now. I don't know. Is the Eagle House still open? You have Gallagher's at the bottom of the Eagle House pub there. We're talking fish and chips, halibut, beer battered halibut and chips over at Gallagher's. And then across the street from there, you got another bar there. You can go shoot. We've shot pool in there before. Uh, Tons of places to go drink. There's also, what was it? Used to be Grandpa's office, we called it. Another seafood spot there. You go have drinks, a bunch of places. And so, and even going on up to Arcata, even the plaza there, you're not far from the bay. And we'll bring up that marsh here again. And so I started looking at some of these cases. I was like, hmm. And it was a mixture of both, I believe, men and women. And the first one I was able to find, and I'm sure it's happened more in the past. There's been also a lot of uh, gnarly nautical situations out there in the past, with ships wrecking and coming into the bay and stuff like that. So very dangerous waters at times. And yeah, we've got to watch out for those sneaker waves. They have taken people. And recently, YouTube channel Gasket. It's spelled like gasket, but it's pronounced Gasky, right? YouTube channel Gasky Mike. He's from Northern California there, Del Norte County, Del Norte, right above Humboldt. And he's been diving into Humboldt County recently. Did a does a lot of droning, and he did a drone. His last recent video, which he just posted the other day, was down at the South Jetty there of Humboldt Bay, and did a cool flyover. So you could check that out over on his channel to get a little view of some of these areas we're talking about here. And what else dropped? Heard about that fire in Honeydew, Juliana, and also seen a video Kim Kemp posted it on her YouTube channel that they took the Honeydew Bridge out. I was like, whoa! I checked that out. That was also drone footage. So definitely keeping an ear out with the news up there as much as possible. Quite a bit happening up north too. Yeah, they be popping off up there, yo. Let me tell you. So let's see. Let's pull up the first. What do we have here? All right. I think this one might be a little older, so might be a little out of order here, but let's check this first one out. Redheaded black belt. And this is and keep an eye out on the dates too. So this is Monday, the 24th, January 2022, 9:22 a.m. And it says update 11 a.m. Body found under a dock on Humboldt Bay. EPD, Eureka Police Department investigating. And let's check, see if we could get into a little bit of the details here. Here's a red circle. I don't mind those, but yeah, a woman rower with a crew on Humboldt Bay called into 911 this morning about 8:45 a.m. reporting that a body had been seen under the dock. Eureka Police Department responded to the scene and confirmed that a body had been located. Officers are on scene investigating. And let's see if then a little further down here, it says, please remember that this story is unfolding. Information is being reported as we gather it. However, some of the information coming from witnesses and initial official reports could be wrong. We will do our best to get the facts, but in the case that something is inaccurate, we will update with correct information as soon as we can. And it says there, according to EPD Sergeant Greg Hill, an individual boating on the water this morning saw a deceased individual on the rocks under the dock at Kaito Fisheries. He told us that body has not been in the water a significant amount of time, but long enough so that when officers located it, they knew immediately the person was deceased. Letters got a little small on me there. And it says there, he explained that there's a lot of debris under the pier, making the retrieval of the body difficult. The recovery is ongoing. And then update 11 a.m. Photo from drone taken by Mark McKenna show the officers near the scene where the body was located speaking together. And I believe those are for crab in there, right? I guess you could call them crab cages or something, pods. And then, yeah, I always recommend diving into the comments there. So, yeah, that's a 2022 case there. Let's see what else we found. All right, let's see. Boom. Cruise down here a little bit. Un momento, por favor. All right. Another case here I want to pull up. And I can't find it. Here we go. All right, this is Lost Coast Outpost. So this is a little further back. The last one was 2022. This is Friday, July 7th, 2017, 3:42. This is body found in Humble Bay, identified as Eureka Man. So 2017. So about 5 years later was that other case. We'll check this out here. Shot there. And the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office press release on Sunday, July 2nd at about 1100 in the morning, a Humboldt County deputy coroner responded to Waterfront Drive regarding the report of a deceased individual floating in Humboldt Bay. An autopsy of the individual identified by fingerprints as Shane Christopher Barbion. His date of birth there was completed today. There was no sign of foul play observed, and the cause of death appears to be drowning. Biological samples have been sent to the lab requesting a toxicology analysis. Will they test for GHB? Probably not, unless requested, is what I hear. It says Barbion appears to have been from Eureka with past addresses in Trinity County in Nevada. Next of kin has been notified in Nevada. Excuse me, as I'm like gargling there. Jeez. Had a nice session before this. I do have a little sippy poo here. But yeah, it's a second case there. And let's see what else we have out of the area. So these are both Humboldt, Eureka Bay. Let me scroll down here a bit. And here's another one. So we have 2017, 2022. Now we have here the North Coast Journal. Update officials ID woman recovered from Humboldt Bay. And let's see here. This is 2017 as well. So I don't know if this is the same case as the 2017 one we read. It could be. And someone could maybe check me on that. But we'll see here to see the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office opened an investigation into a death of a 28-year-old woman whose body was recovered Sunday from Humboldt Bay. Community Service Officer Stacy Hansen today identified the woman as Rochelle Anaya of Samoa. And there's the town of Samoa in Humboldt County, I believe, which is very nearby these bodies of water, also the beach. And said an autopsy has been scheduled to determine a cause of death. Hansen said the sheriff's office was dispatched to the third span of the Samoa Bridge at 4:10 a.m. Sunday, and search of and rescue effort was launched with the Coast Guard, later recovering Anaya's body. At this time, we don't know. It's under investigation exactly what happened, Hansen said. The sheriff's office is expected to release more information on the incident later today, she added. And here's a little recap of that here, I believe. So I don't know if those two 2017 cases are the same. I have to look into that a little more. And And then I believe we have one more, which is the recent one, the more recent one that happened, which was last year. Let's see, where is that? Oh, here, hang on. We got another one here. Let's see which one this is. All right, so this is Facebook here. It says Humboldt Bay rescue officials say a naked woman was found about 450 feet offshore and brought back to dry land. Yeah, let's check out this. There's a little video to this. Oop, we need some audio. Where's our audio? Let's see. Boom. There we go.
When a woman starts yelling for help from the water. Lightning moments off of a pier in Eureka when a woman starts yelling for help from the water. The report came into Humboldt Bay Fire around 2:15 this afternoon. Fire officials saying they found the woman naked
rescued
about 450 feet offshore, floating in Humboldt Bay. Bystanders.
So not fully. This is something else here. Sorry about that. Let's see. We have another one though. Give me 1 second. Pull that up here. Let's see. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? And so the channel that covered, I was talking about Paranormal Files. They're the ones that covered the smiley face killers there. So you could check them out. And they go on site, do boots on the ground, do paranormal investigations. And it was a trip because when I looked into them, there was another. We'll see if that pops out here. Oh, yeah, right here. So when I had pulled that up to show you all their channel, Paranormal Files, this case here popped up, the Austin serial cases here. And I believe, I forget the name of the lake. What is it? Yeah, Ladybird Lake cases. And that one came out, looks like 10 months ago there. But then there's a channel that streams very much like Smoke and Scan, Ikenmel. And he actually pulled up the other day these cases. So I don't know if a new body was found in the lake, the Ladybird Lake, adding to these cases. And we'll peep that in a second also. Let's see here. Let's get that other Humboldt Bay. Let's see right here. We could touch on those Tennessee cases while I'm finding those. So when this is the Riley Strain case. You could check this out. When that first happened, I just knew it was red flags for me. I had posted a newsreel on my channel, and I was just, sending out vibes that he would be found hopefully safely. But just the sounds of it, him leaving a bar and da da da, I was like, oh man, it sounds like one of these sobering coincidence or whatever, you want to label these cases. And yeah, Politis ended up covering it. And soon after, you got that other weird one that he just covered that we were showing. Let's see here. Come on, Humboldt, pull up for me. So this one I want to pull up is out of last year, and it's also a woman. Here we go. And it's actually a newsreel. So we got Ariana Martinez here reporting for KRCR News Channel 7. And let's make sure we got audio here. We got audio. Cool.
Yesterday morning, a body was discovered floating in Humboldt Bay near Samoa. At about 9:30, the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office got a call about a body floating near a dock off Comet Street near Samoa.
And I believe this is the 2024 case.
According to the Sheriff's Office, a deputy arrived, moved it to shore, confirmed it was a female, then called the coroner. The body was identified as 43-year-old Crystal Shinka of Eureka. She was reported missing on Monday, although had not been seen since Thursday. An autopsy is scheduled for later this week. If you have any information, call the Humboldt County Sheriff's Office. Yesterday morning.
So, yeah, that was last year, and I'm sure there's articles on it. I just decided to pull up this newsreel. So I think it's like what, 4, possibly 3, 4, 5, maybe even cases out of the Eureka Bay there, and I was trying to dig to see if there's more. Maybe locals might know, but it just had me, wondering. Just because of all the bars there, a lot of drinking, a lot of partying up that way, and could some of these situations be along these lines? I don't know. It had me thinking, and I've definitely thought about it when I've been up that way anywhere, where there's water and bars like that. It makes me wonder. There are some cases out here that have been touched on, and I'll have to try and find those. What's up, Deb? Welcome in. Good to see you here. And let's see here. What else did I wanted to head up a little further up? So right above Eureka, what is it, about 12 miles, maybe not even 15 miles, a little more than 10 miles north of Eureka, you have the small, awesome town of Arcata, California. And yeah, the Humboldt State University, which is now, what is it, Humboldt Poly. So you have that college vibe or university vibe town, a lot of students from different places. And so there's that whole action there, that whole scene, including others. And interesting play. I love it there. But they recently shut down a lot of the bars there. There are a few still open, and very close to, there's there's the marsh. And then there's also a little bay, and maybe Juliana could share some more water sources from the area. And I know the area pretty well. Spent a lot of time there. There was one case, and it was weird because these guys, they were from out of town, it seemed. I think the victim was from France, I believe. We'll see here. There it is. Or actually, yeah, we'll pull his first. So this did make it to the Missing 411 channel on YouTube, and here's a Lost Coast Outpost with missing young French Canadian man found dead at Arcata Marsh. And I remember being there at the time, and I actually there's a video on my channel where I go soon after this had happened, and I did a video walking around the marsh, just questioning and checking things out. It seemed weird. Yeah, 3 guys camping, and I don't think there's camping allowed there. And yeah, one guy ends up missing, and they end up sending out search team. And yeah, a lot of stuff happens around Samoa. Juliana, I seen you mention something about Samoa there, but okay, roger that. Yep, definitely. So I always keep that in mind. The human criminal, or human, just you wouldn't say criminal, but self, hurting oneself too, just deciding to do that. And yeah, a lot of stuff happens. Bayshore Mall, behind Bayshore Mall, what do they call it? Devil's Plague. A lot of weird stuff happens behind there. I don't know how, if you could access water, but I know the bay is not too far from there, that area there too. So definitely keep all that in mind as well. Yeah, and a lot of just trippy people up that way for sure. So you never know. But I did want to, yeah, touch on this case here up at the Arcata Marsh. Uh, so the dad, it's a trip. I forget how long exactly they were searching for him for, but the dad came out to help with the search, and it was actually the father who ended up finding his son. And he was in, you could see there, like this weird area with a lot of brush. And when they first searched, like from what I hear, they had searched that area but couldn't find him, and somehow the dad ended up finding him. Um, and I could see how you could get tangled up in that stuff there. And we could check out what this article says. It says the body of a young French Canadian man who'd gone missing earlier this month was recovered this afternoon from thick vegetation in the Arcata Marsh. 25-year-old Felix, and I won't be able to, let's see, DeSaltels Poirier was last seen alive on the evening of November 6th when he and friends, so November, got to keep that in mind. I don't remember how the weather was. When he and friends went to sleep in the marsh, according to an email sent by his mother. They were drunk. Okay. They went to sleep, and in the morning, and who knows what else, you never know what other substances maybe. Um, so he says they went to sleep, and in the morning, he wasn't there anymore. But his phone, wallet, and more importantly, his glasses were left behind, she said in a November 9th email. Arcata police officers walked the entire marsh searching for the young man. We'll say it, so I don't have to say his last name there. It's a tough one. And drones were used to look from above to no avail. Poirier's father flew down with other family members about 4 days ago to help look for him. And according to Arcata Police Chief Tom Chapman, the father found his son's body caught in the thick underbrush of Hauser Marsh shortly after 3:30 this afternoon in the pouring rain. So it was raining, which is, they talk about in the 411 situation. Sometimes there's weather involved, rain, snow, some sort of weird weather phenomenon happening, or some sort of weather that'll hinder the search or somehow be a part of the situation. Sometimes, a lot of times it won't help. Chapman said there is no indication of foul play, and the death appears to be an accidental drowning, though an autopsy will provide more definitive information. And yeah, have lived in Arcata. And there's some pictures there as well. So yeah, I don't know. I think so. Is that it? Is it just drunk, case closed, drown? Just nothing more. None of these entities involved and stuff like that. makes me wonder. And there is another one actually out of the marsh there. And let's see here. I'm glad this track's looping and not taking us into commercials. So figured that out. I've been learning quite a bit more with all this stuff here, all these little failures here and there. Definitely learning. So I guess that's how you learn. Here we go. A redheaded black belt remains found Monday, and this is 2022. So remember, there's another 2022 case out of the Eureka Bay, and this is the Arcata Bay here, Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022, 11:14 a.m. And it says remains found Monday at the Arcata Marsh are human, confirmed Arcata police this morning. And let's have a look here. All right, quite a little bit of reading to do there. I'm down to do it though. I actually had sipping on this blackberry mate. Cheers. So unknown remains discovered Monday in the Arcata Marsh are human, confirmed Lieutenant Todd Dockweiler of the Arcata Police Department. A passerby noticed them, he told us, and the remains were investigated, determined to be human, and removed the same day. Dockweiler pointed out this morning in a phone call that the basic facts about the death and the person who died are still being determined. He did say that the death had probably occurred with the last, I think they meant within the last year, but not much else is known beyond that. The coroner is going to do an examination to try to determine gender, age, things like that, he explained. Trying to determine, do we have a homicide investigation or what? You just don't know until you go through those steps. He says at this point, he said, seemed likely that the remains had been moved by tidal fluctuations. He explained that the Arcata Marsh is frequented by bird watchers and others who tend to be observant and also to walk off the trail. Those areas where the remains were found are pretty heavily traveled, he told us. The idea that they were discovered sooner tends to support that they were moved about with the tides. He added, it is hard to tell whether the remains entered the water. There is a lot of tidal movements in that area. The remains could potentially been deposited some distance away from where they ended up, especially over an extended period of time. Goes on quite a bit there. But yeah, some more remains found there. And then, sometimes a lot of, stuff has been washing up on certain beaches around the area too. We've touched on those cases in previous streams. But again, yeah, it makes me wonder what's up with that. Pretty trippy, I thought. Let me know what you think. Maybe drop a comment. And yeah. See, I think I got most of and I'll be keeping an eye out for any older cases from those bays or any other nearby water sources. Anyone find anything out, let me know. I'd be interested. Let's see here. Get into some Bigfoot. Maybe read off some of these Bigfoot reports while we're at it. Let's see here. Got the Bigfoot mapping project, and again, curator for the Bigfoot Willow Creek Museum. Whoa, quite a few dots up here. since even earlier that I checked it out. Got some looks like maybe even California there. All right, we'll take a look. Looks like Del Norte too. Might be Del Norte. Let's head on over to Cali. Check it out. Yeah. Boom. All right. 6. So this is today. Oh, right. It's a trip. It's today's date, but 2002. 3 p.m. It says I was driving on Johnson's Road in the daytime in the early fall hunting. I looked over to my right and saw 2.5 to 3 foot what looked like hairy little bears wrestling and playing, hopping up and down, rolling around. It lasted maybe 1 or 2 seconds. Huh. Says I drove approximately 100 feet and thought to myself, that wasn't right. What was that? I backed up my truck to where I spotted them and they were gone. It was on the edge of the tree line, about 100 yards down from the road, and it goes straight down to Meta Creek on the Klamath River. Juliana, you know where this is at? And it says, did you see any young Bigfoot? And it says, yes, without parents. They're probably nearby. Color was cinnamon. Yeah, super cool report there. And what county would that be, Juliana? Let's see if we could zoom in here. I'm going to say Del Norte. Del Norte. Yeah, you can see 6 rivers up there. Redwood National Park there. There's Johnson's. Haven't heard of Johnson's. Wasek, and there's Wichipeg. Wichipeg, I do know. You know, you could get the is the I've actually met, so right in the here we go, Humboldt County story, Eureka Bay. So there's the grandpa's office is this little restaurant right on the bay, Old Town Eureka, and you could actually see the sushi place and stuff that I was talking about. Darn, I can't remember. See if I can remember the name of the place. But anyway, that's where I met the Wichipeg hot sauce guy. And I don't know if you probably know who that is too, Juliana. But yeah, throughout Humboldt County, actually, the restaurant there used to carry his hot sauce, but had I think stopped carrying it after a while. But yeah, Wichipeg hot sauce. So not too far from Wichipeg there. All right, let's see if we could get into some of these other reports. There's one of these new reports that I read. I think it was out of Florida, and it was a little soft. A lady was hearing footsteps, so I don't know. Won't fully read that one, but I see Utah has a new green dot here, so we'll check that out. And let's see, date and time of sighting 4/14/2025, so recently. And it says, describe your encounter. We smelled forest man. Okay. It was like a moose in rut, but so much worse and absolutely out of season. No animals are in rut in the spring. We didn't look because forest man should never be looked for. It's disrespectful. However, even the animals fell silent. It was obvious what was happening. I didn't see any young or anything else. No other additional information to that report there. And Nebraska has one here that I don't think we touched on. And this is 5/29/2025, 6:26 p.m. And I'm hoping our little prankster's not back submitting cases. All right, let's check this one out here. I was hiking with just my younger brother close to sunset, and we came across these tracks that appeared to be human ape-like, but way too big and shaped differently. And no human is going to be walking barefoot on these trails. We were slightly terrified and ran as fast as we could all the way back to where the rest of our family was, approximately 0.6 miles. The tracks were also relatively new as it had rained several inches a couple days before. Yikes. Fresh tracks. I wonder if they took pictures or anything. All right. So that is. So we could. Kansas go bye bye. And there was a few others. Let's see. I might have missed a few others. I'm going to zoom in here, see if it pops up, but it's all good. See what Kansas got to say. So this is a 6'2" report, 2025. Bigfoot doing the rounds out there. It's 8-footer, they say. And it says, me and my daughter were going to town to go eat. Got engines revving out there. Going to eat dinner when we saw this very dark and tall, odd-looking creature that looked straight out of a book movie. It was crazy. Whoa. Footprints. Yep. And it was a dark brown black. Oof. So that's Kansas there. We're going to cruise on up to Wisconsin, where we're getting a lot of those sobering coincidence, smiley face cases. And here we are. See, date 3/31/2025. Of course. Check out the timing there. 4:20. Yep. All right. No vocalization. 7-footer. And it just says brown and shaggy. And was it Shaggy that submitted that report? I don't know. Time to pop out the Scooby snacks. Yeah. Let's cruise down here to North Carolina. See what's popping over here. Quite a bit happening out of North Carolina several years here with Bigfoot. 6/2/2025, 4:45 p.m. Another 7-footer. And it says, let's see here. Making sure it's not too long. I was parking my bike next to a trash can by the tennis court. I looked out of the corner of my eye and saw a 7-foot tall dark brown figure running through the trail in a nearby woods. Around 5 minutes later, me and my brother heard 2 wood knocks, and I think we read this one. We did a reaction of the figure and realized it couldn't have been a man. I believe I saw Bigfoot that day. Oh, yeah. Dark brown. Booty brown Bigfoot. So this is that Floridian report. And it's quite extensive. You could see. Look at all that. And it was just some footsteps that were heard. So we're not going to read that off. But I see over here offshore, it looks like Nova Scotia. And we've been checking out those or that particular case of those 2 missing kids out of Nova Scotia. And Politis has been covering that also. It seems pretty strange. One of the details I heard recently was that there you go, Diesel. Hot links dropping. Was that the mom took off right away to another area far away from where the kids are missing. So I thought that was pretty weird. But yeah, it seems pretty strange still. No updates on that. And we'll still keep an eye on that. But Looks like we got a Bigfoot report out of there. And I've heard quite a bit of strange stuff out of Nova Scotia. Let's see here. 5/7/2025, 3:52 p.m., 7.5-footer, male. So they might have seen something there. And it says, driving by and by an old abandoned house by Enon, he was walking into the woods. Yeah. Brown with black there again. And they heard some wood knocks. Right on. Nova Scotia. All right. Several Bigfoot reports there for y'all. Super cool that they added some there. They weren't too, I don't think the troll we were having, I don't think they were ridiculous. I don't think they were fake, any of these. And always glad to share these reports out. We could actually check BFRO right quick. See, you never know. They might, it is the weekend. Someone might have submitted a report. Diesel's been doing some awesome breakdowns of Mark's videos, Colorado Bigfoot. Let's see. And Mark has a lot of fans out there. He even has haters that are fans, which is all good. Boom. Let's see. Nope. That's a Bigfoot report there. We want to check out any new reports. All right. I feel pretty satisfied. I'm glad I was able to finally share this stuff, even though some of these cases we're looking at are probably not this strange phenomenon. Like Juliana, I believe, was saying, probably a lot of it probably was self or human criminal, which is also very, we got to be aware of those things too. Creepy ass people. See, what the hell are we looking for? I see you, Sal Saliman, up in this piece. Good to see you, Brethren. Bless up. All right, BFRO, that's what we're looking for. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? There you are. Yeah, no recent reports here. And before we jam out, we'll have a little look. Let's take a little cruise somewhere. And I see you, Woo Riders, DG. Yeah, Chris Jarvis up at the house. Fast Hemi stepping up in here too. Bless up, y'all. Cheers. And thank you for coming by, hanging out here for a bit. We're checking out a few things earlier happening around the city. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a wild weekend. And again, a wild week coming up with that strawberry full moon, Friday the 13th. Y'all doing any special rituals? And yeah, the 411 phenomenon, I'll talk on that a little bit too. To me, it's not just national parks. This stuff is going on obviously on private property. It's going on in the city. It's going on in the air. Weird stuff going on everywhere. And I don't think cryptids also, we've been mentioning cryptids without borders. So yeah, I think maybe cryptids stick to certain regions, and we might define those regions by states and borders and cities or whatever, towns, counties. But I don't think Bigfoot maybe looks at it like that. And so yeah, I think this strange phenomenon and cryptids and weird stuff, it goes outside of these parks as well. You'll find, even the 411 strange cases of people going missing outside of some of these national parks. So it's happening outside of the park too. And I think, yeah, if you're Bigfoot, you'd want to step out of the park for a bit, get out of Yosemite, maybe dip to another national park or something, right? Got some possible stars blinking up there. And look at that. Got some little weird things floating by, maybe debris, might be bugs. I don't know. I seen Dr. Shipe. I posted a little short today of some flyovers outside of the crib here from earlier in the week. Had some military flyovers and, of course, little fast movers zipping by there. And I don't know if some of the guys were joking in the comments on that, but Dr. Shipe looks like Dr. Sheep may have responded to some of that. So I'll have to see what he has to say. And yeah, I heard who was it? Sasquatch Wizard Adirondacks reaching out, sharing a channel with me with a lady who's very interested into these objects. So I'll be checking that channel out. Hopefully linking her with some people that are interested, like the doc. And yeah, what else is popping out there, folks? Anyone, you got anything you're chopping up, Diesel? Any new edits, posts, any premieres coming up? I've been staying on top of because you're constantly pumping stuffs out. So staying on top of it. Quite a few Cali vibes. I'm not sure. What is that? A music event? I know there's let's see here. Let's see if we could reach this. Let's freeze the camera first. You stay there, camera. There is Rhyme Fest. And I don't even have like the energy to go to these events anymore, but 2025 going down at looks like at the Coliseum, LA Memorial Coliseum off of the notorious Figueroa, located where? Figueroa. Yeah, big old lineup, all types of and I know Diesel, I think you mentioned you've seen some of these artists recently, Dilated, yeah, Alchemist, all sorts of people going to be there. Yeah, I can't afford to get into these places. If I could sneak in, maybe I'd go, but yeah, they came by. Buttafuoco came by the shop and dropped off a bunch of flyers. So yeah, that's what's popping off. And I'll look into that Chris Jarvis. And there's Denise. Greetings, welcome. Thank you for sliding through and hanging out here for a bit. We're going to hang out a little longer here. We are at Yosemite at the moment. And you collaborated on one of your older videos and made a short with it yesterday. Right on. Hell yeah. I'm all about that. I don't know. So did you remix it? Because, YouTube has that feature and I have remixed videos before. And yeah, do one of those. Burn down Baphomet. Moloch and all them. But for the juggalos, let's see. Come on. Activate. All right. It's filling up gas right now. We're filling up balloons. Are we ready? Is the gas tank pumping? What's going on here, camera? How about a thumb up? Is that working? All right. Camera's off. Must be on lunch or something. You found some cool. Oh, yeah, I bet. Yeah, I've found some weird stuff. I can't remember the video, but there's one video on over on Mark's channel. It's an old one. This is years back. And like Diesel, I would look into his videos a lot. And there's one where I seriously seen black objects look like Sasquatches and this thing looked like it just melted into the ground and disappeared. And I had timestamped it. I left Mark a message, but he never got back to me on that. I should have. I didn't. I don't even think I knew how to screen record at the time or anything. This might be like 4 or 5, maybe more, 6 years ago. Yeah. So yeah, here we are. High Sierra, Yosemite. Keep an eye out. Oop, popped out of that one. So let's come on. Where are they at? Okay. Boom. All right. There's some legal fireworks. So then no, it's like this then. Nope. So how is it then? How do we do that's the fireworks. There we go. There you go, Diesel. Some balloons for Diesel and anyone else. They all float. They all float. Oh no, that's not funny. Especially after tonight's topics. Gotta watch out what I say there. All right. Almost rolling into 2 hours. We'll make this one 2 hours. I miss you all. It's been a minute. Pull up another camera here. Any interesting cameras, live streams y'all like to check out here? Let us know. Shoot us a link. Maybe you got a live camera. I got permission to go to Chi and Garrel's backyard and check out their webcam. Let's see here. Let's go to Lake Tahoe. I want to go to Tahoe right quick. Yeah, these Tahoe cams have been pretty cool. And this one also has had weird stuff zipping by. See, keep an eye out. There's little things going by. I know we're summer, bugs are out. Luckily, they left me alone here tonight. Didn't have to shoo anything away. But yeah, there's some things zipping around here. You'll see the camera should change angle, so we'll get a view of the lake in a second or two, or a minute. Bugs, night birds. What are they? Yeah, no, some of them are very weird shaped, look very much like the skyfish that people capture. What else? The little rods, those, yeah, very much similar to what Chiro Sounds and Garrel capture in their backyard. And I've noticed that at the Yosemite cameras and a bunch of other of these cameras. But again, could be debris, wind blowing on the cameras I'm checking out. Not Chi and them. I think they're pretty solid on. They got weird stuff popping on their cameras there, but yeah, there's Hillbilly Herb. What up? Light it up, bro. I got this black mamba tonight. I got chipped off a nice nugget of it. What else? Wedding cake, gorilla glue. Got a few flavors here. We're tapping into. Let's see. When you get bored, you can always watch the cams in Hawaii. They're 3 hours behind California. Yeah, no, we've pulled up some of the volcano cams that have been popping off there. There is like a Waikiki one too, and yeah, there's definitely several in Hawaii. The ones I got ready here, pretty much Pacific Northwest, so we could go all the way up to. And the camera hasn't switched here, so bummer. Let's see if we could have another one we could pull up here. Let's see. Dang it. There's the lake. There you are. Who knows? Might have a Tahoe Tessie sighting, or you might get some USOs popping out, or who knows? Maybe a Bigfoot skinny dipping. Hey, watch out! Yeah, beautiful, beautiful view, and of course during the day, look at that reflection. And that's the moon there, I would imagine, right? Reflecting off the water. Anyone been to Tahoe? You wish YouTube had a feature where you could post pictures on chat. Oh yeah, no, they haven't. I'm surprised they haven't stepped it up like that. TikTok's way more interactive. I wouldn't be surprised if you could do something like that over there. Yeah, we've been watching these live cams, and there's another one I've been pulling up out of Vancouver Island. Let's see, let's go check that out. Maybe we could see. But this one, I guess it's out of a resort, but it's right on a beach, and there's a bunch of material like lumber for structures, and there is actual structures on, or whatever you want to call it, stick art. And there's been movement on one of them, and there's a lot of traffic, human traffic, like people going out and about for walks. Not the other, yeah. Um, and so there is a lot of people in the area, but let's see here. Probably still date. Probably still got sun up there. I'll pull it up. Nope, it's dark now. Yeah, it's amazing to see how bright it is at 9 o'clock up that way. But let's see if I could pull this up. Here it is. And so we've pulled it up a couple times. Here it is. So hopefully my arrow's pointing right in that area, and I'll zoom in on it also. See all the driftwood and stuff. So there's a few structures there. This one is an actual hut, and I've seen some additions to it over the past few days. Someone's been building something there, but I never see the people are usually out and about and doing their thing, taking pictures of sunset, walking their dogs and all that. And I haven't spotted anyone really building anything. Let's see if we could zoom in on it. Of course, it would be better to look at during the day. And why can't I zoom? Here we go. All right, we're zoomed in there. Yeah, don't forget you could zoom on YouTube. Yeah, right around this area here is like a little hut, basically. Eventually, I spotted that. I've been watching this and I didn't spot it on the days before. Maybe I totally missed it, but there's a hut there now, and you could go in there and chill. Could a 8-foot Bigfoot fit in there? I don't know. I don't think so. But maybe you could throw some little ones, some juveniles, maybe, and definitely a stream to keep an eye on, and especially here at night, if it is Sasquatch out there building things, then maybe we might have a chance of seeing it. Come on, Bigfoot, show us that you build these things. But yeah, no, just one of those fun streams I've been enjoying. And let's see, I'll give you the name of the channel here as well. Can we do that? Yeah, we'll do that in a sec. So Tofino, does that ring a bell? Anyone? And where's our friend? We have a few friends up in Vancouver Island. And much love to them. But yeah, this Sasquatch roam this beach here. I think they roam the beaches for sure. A lot of activity, I think, on the coast. There's been a lot of reports along the Pacific Northwest. And sometimes not knowing is a cool way to go, says Hillbilly. Not sure what he's talking about there, but I agree. And Nana says, I didn't know what they were, so I wasn't scared. Structures are always unique on the beach. We can tell if they are made by people, says Denise. And Hillbilly Herb, are you by any coastal areas? Are you inland? I think for some reason, I imagine you inland, but you are way up north too. So have you been to Vancouver Island? Sasquatch Island. Let's see. I've been there. There it is. Answered me right away. I've been to Tofino in BC. It's amazing up there. Did you run into any Sasquatch? Hillbilly or probably stayed at this resort. Twisting fatties. All right, we'll stop that there. Boom. All right, cool. Had a little fun with the stream. So I heard one of the eaglets out here at the Big Bear lake area. Yeah, it's Gizmo and what's his brother's name? I forget. But Gizmo's brother took flight the other day, about 2-3 days ago, maybe 4. So the eaglets are airborne now. Well, we'll see if Gizmo takes flight here soon, but at least one of them is. So good news there with the eaglets in Big Bear. And yeah, I'm going to wish everyone a great weekend. Thank you for coming through, chilling with your boy. And we'll be in touch. Hopefully we have internet back on at the shop tomorrow. Yeah, we'll be there normal time. Don't forget Mondays we're off now. And this Monday coming up, I might have a show with Paranormal Paul. We got that lined up. So keep an ear out. I'll be sharing a link as soon as possible. And yeah, we'll bring up any other news coming up. There's always something to talk about. And yeah, let's see. Does that work now? Could we get one of those? And don't forget to chant down. Come on. Chant down Babylon. Yes, I. Yeah, and happy Earth Strong to Granny and my boy there. Yeah, they got the same birth date. Much love to them. And we'll see y'all. Take care. Much love. Let's see. Can we hit our outro? We out, y'all.